Hi, welcome back. In this specific session, I'm going to walk you through on the index number. Index numbers are an integral part of our decision making. We are more concerned to find out from the base year what is the change in terms of a pricing and in terms of the quantity consumption. And then it helps us to understand whether the consumption has increased or decreased. When we talk about the index number, we will have two scenarios. One is called as the base year, and the second one is called as the current year. For the base year price, we are going to denote the price, base year price as P naught, and the current year price as P1. Base year quantity as Q naught, and the current year quantity as Q1. These are the only four variables we are going to use it. We are going to have only four different combinations over here. Now look at this. I'm talking about the price and the quantity. Base year quantity and the current year quantity. When you do this, you will have two combinations, P naught. So how we will write P naught, Q naught. Then we'll write P naught, Q1. Similarly, for the current year price also, we are interested to find out what is the last year quantity consumption or the base year, then Q1. So now again look into this. This will give us P1, Q naught, P1, Q1. That's all. You're going to have these four combinations. You don't have to memorize anything and after seeing this video. I'm going to give you the logic. You can build the formula on your own. You can take this in any which order that you're interested in. It's not mandatory that you have to go in the same order that I have shown. You can have P naught and Q naught, the first one, and then the current year price and the quantity, and then you can make the rest of the combination. We are given with the data, and then we are asked to solve according to the seven methods. For the first five methods, we can use the same table, and then we should be able to finish up the calculation. For the Kelly's method and for the Walsh method, we need a different table. So in your question paper, you look forward whether they are asking for the very first five, then you can construct the table and then finish it off. You're not going to memorize the formula. Let me show you a small trick to learn how to write the formula. First, we are going to set up the table. This is the first process. In setting up the table, we have got the four variables here, P naught and Q naught, which is 20 into 8, 160. Finish up for the entire scenario. Then the second one, P1 Q naught, which is 8 times 40, which we have gotten 320. P naught and then Q1 we are in need of, which is 20 multiplied by 6 times, we are going to have 120. Then finally, we are going to have P1 and Q1. 40 into 6 times, then we are going to have 240. So similarly, finish up the calculation for the entire scenario and do the sum for all this. Pause the video and finish it up. I'm sure all of you have finished the table. Let's check in the answer. If the answer is right, then we can proceed. Otherwise, please to rework on the answer. Lasperyes method formula is going to be extremely easy. You don't have to memorize. Think of this Lasperyes method as a lazy Lasperyes. In a lazy Lasperyes, what happens? The person is lazy and does not update it. Now, first level, we are talking about the price index. And then we are going to talk about the quantity index. We need both for test of consistency. Price index. Price index, the moment you say index, there is a change. So price P naught to the current year price. So price index you have written, but we need to find out what's the quantity. Now think of this method as a lazy Lasperyes. The person does not update the quantity. Multiplied by 100. Quantity index Q naught to Q1. Method is lazy Lasperyes. The person does not update the quantity. Multiplied by 100. Add summation in front of the price. You have your formula. Isn't it easy? Yes, it is. Pause the video and write the formula on your. Now let's go ahead and calculate the price index for the Lasperyes price index method. So I'm denoting P for the price and L for the Lasperyes index. This is a lazy Lasperyes method. So index is summation of P naught Index, there is always a change. What happens to the quantity? The person does not update the quantity multiplied by summation of P1 Q0 2070 upon P0 and Q0 1660 multiplied by 100. This will give us an answer of 1.24 multiplied by 100, which will give us an answer of 124, which means from the base year to the current year, there is an increase of 24% because the base year is 100 and the current year is 124. What is the difference? 24% is the difference. For the same quantity, there is an increase of 24%. Now let's calculate the quantity index for this method. Lasperyes quantity index. So how do we write for the quantity? Here the quantity index Q0 to Q1. And what happens to the price? Lazy Lasperyes. The person does not update the price over here. So which you can see for the quantity and the price, the opposite of it. So this will give a summation of P0 Q1 1470 upon P0 Q0 1660 multiplied by 100. So we have an answer of 88.55. Now you can see base year quantity is 100. From 100 we have gotten, which means for the same pricing, when there is a change in the quantity, people have reduced the consumption. Prices increased by 24% and the consumption has decreased by 11.44%. Yes, so easy. Let's move on to the next method. We have finished Lasperyes method. Let's go ahead and calculate the Paasche method. This is the formula for the Paasche method, but we will write it in our own style. Now, for the Paasche method, we are going to talk about the price index. Paasche price index. P is for Paasche, subscript P is for the price index. Paasche method is extremely easy. Think of this Paasche as a progressive Paasche. Lasperyes, lazy Lasperyes, Paasche, progressive Paasche. If you can write these two formula, you can write the rest three other formulas. Let's go ahead and write the price index formula for the Paasche method. Paasche price index equal to price index. So what do we do? Price index P0 to P1 because there is always a change. Progressive Paasche updates the quantity. So Q1 and here also Q1 multiplied by 100 summation sign. That's it. You have your price formula ready. Paasche quantity index. Quantity index. So index is Q0 to Q1. And then progressive Paasche. So what he will do for the quantity, he will update the price. P1 to P1 summation multiplied by 100. Now you check in, are both the formulas same? Yes, that's it. You can write it. You don't have to memorize the formula. Let's go ahead and find out summation of P1 Q1 1790 upon summation of P0 Q1 1470 multiplied by 100. 121.76, which means from the base year, there is an increase of 21%. Now let's calculate the quantity index as well. Summation of P1 Q0 1790 upon summation of P1 Q0 2070 multiplied by 100. 86.47. According to this method, the price has increased by 21% and the quantity has decreased by 13.53%. You have finished Paasche index as well. We have finished with Paasche method. Let's go ahead and calculate Bowley's method. Bowley's method is extremely easy. It is just an average of Lasperyes and Paasche price index. All of you please check in. Do you have the same calculation on your notebook? If the answer is yes, then we can proceed. What is Lasperyes index? 124.69 plus what is Paasche's index? 121.76 upon 2. This will give us an answer of 246.45 upon 2. When we reduce it, we will have an answer of 123.2. We have finished Bowley's method. Let's go ahead for the next one, Fisher Ideal Index. Fisher Ideal Index is an easy method similar to Bowley's. We will take Lasperyes Price Index and Paasche Price Index. You have taken Lasperyes formula here and then the Paasche formula here. I'm going to show you two methods. One with the already calculated value and the second one straight away we will calculate it. Now what is Lasperyes Index? 124.69 multiplied by the Paasche index is 121.76. I'm not going to multiply this by 100. The reason is already in the calculated formula we have used in 100. Let's not do a double multiplication here. This will give us an answer of 151,082.25. The final answer stands at 123.22. This is straight away when you have got it. But they have not asked you for the Lasperyes index and the Paasche index. Straight away you have to calculate Fisher Ideal Index. Then straight away substitute the values here, which is equal to summation of P1 Q 0 2070 upon summation of P 0 Q 0 1660 multiplied by P1 Q1 by P 0 Q1. Here we would multiply this by 100. 1.5814 multiplied by 100. 1.2322 into 100, which will give us 123.22. Compare the answer between the previous one to this one. Gave us an answer of 123.22. And the previous method also gave us the answer of 123.22. So whichever method you're using it, your answer must be right. Yes, it is easy. Let's move on to the next one. Now that we have finished with Fisher Ideal Index, let's go ahead and calculate Marshall-Edgeworth method. Marshall-Edgeworth method is extremely easy, similar to Bowley's and Fisher Ideal Index, with a small change. We are going to take the Lasperyes formula and then we are going to take Paasche's price index. Lasperyes and Paasche price index. Then we are going to combine this formula together. But please be careful. Make sure the division is for the entire portion and not for the index alone. So you're going to combine the numerator divided by the denominator multiplied by 100. That's all you're going to do. The key is learning Lasperyes and Paasche index. Let's substitute the values. P1 Q0 2070 plus P1 Q1 1790 upon P0 Q0 plus P0 Q1 multiplied by 100. Numerator value 3860 divided by denominator value 3130 multiplied by 100. 1.2332 into 100. 123.32. So according to Marshall-Edgeworth method as well, there is an increase of 23.32% in the pricing. Yes, that's it. So for the first 5 methods, which are all the methods, Lasperyes, Paasche, Bowley, Fisher, and Marshall-Edgeworth method, with the same table, you will be able to finish up the calculation. But for Walsh and Kelly method, you need 2 different tables. Let's go and see how to solve it. Let's start the Kelly's method. Kelly's method is also extremely simple, except for the calculation. That's a minor change in the calculation. In the Kelly's method, again, when we talk about the price index, we take P0 to P1. But whereas we are going to consider Q, summation of P1 Q, summation of P0 Q multiplied by 100. But what this Q is? This Q is an average of Q0 plus Q1 upon 2. This is what is reflected in the formula as well. To accommodate this, let's set up the table. First, let's take the quantity. 8 plus 6, 14. The next level, what are we doing? We are dividing, taking the average of the quantity. 14 upon 2 is 7. Then we will take P0, which is 20. 20 multiplied by 7 times, which will give us 140. And then we have gotten P1 as 40. 40 multiplied by 7, which we will have 280. In the same way, go ahead and do the quantity 10 plus 5, then do an average, multiply with P0 and P1. Finish up the entire calculation similar to this, and then do a sum for summation of P0 cube, summation of P1 cube. Pause the video, complete the calculation. I'm sure you have finished the calculation. Check the answer. If this is the answer, let's proceed further. Otherwise, pause the video, find out where is the challenge, and then continue. This is the formula we are going to use in summation of P1 cube 2210 upon summation of P0 cube 1705 multiplied by 100. 1.2961 multiplied by 100. The answer stands at 129.61, which means there is an increase of 29.61%. Now that we have finished Kelly's method, let's go ahead for the last method called as Walsh method. In the Kelly's method, we have taken the average of the quantity, but whereas in the Walsh method, we are going to multiply the quantity and then do a square root of it. This is the formula to calculate it. How easy and simple this is going to be. We have gotten the price index P0 to P1, and then we are going to do square root of Q0, Q1. Here also square root of Q0, Q1 multiplied by 100. Summation. That's all is the formula. To perform this calculation, let's finish setting up the table. This is the table. We are going to multiply the quantity. 8 into 6, 48. Then we are going to do a root of 48, which will give us an answer of 6.93. 6.9282 will be the answer. I have just rounded off to the 2 decimal. After finishing this, let's go ahead and take P0. 20 multiplied by 6.93. This will give us an answer of 138.6. Next level, let's take P1. 40 multiplied by 6.93. We will have an answer of 227.2. Finish up the calculation for the entire 4 columns. Summation of these 2 columns. Pause the video and complete the calculation. I'm sure you have finished the calculation. Check in the answer. If your answer is right, let's proceed. Otherwise, pause the video, check where have you missed it, and then continue. What is the formula for the Walsh method? Where we are going to take P0 to P1 to the root of Q0, Q1. Here also Q0, Q1, summation of it, multiplied by 100, which will give us 2175.8 upon 1677.9 multiplied by 100. 1.2967 multiplied by 100, which will get us an answer of 129.67, which means Walsh method indicates there is an increase of 29.67%. We have finished Walsh method as well. All the 7 methods are completed. Yes, I heard it. It's so easy and simple to calculate. The key over here is learn to write the Lasperyes and Paasche method, and the rest of the methods you can write it on your own. Walsh and Kelly's method, you have to put a little time to it, and you're done with index numbers, weighted average method. Test of consistency will continue in the next video with the same numerical. I'm sure you have enjoyed the video. Should you have any doubts, please post it in the comment box. I'm happy to answer it. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Karpakam signing off. Good day.